Whiskey is always a good choice, but I'm just wondering, should we celebrate All Spark Day?
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like we'll have a lot more weird shit going on in that case, and not in a good way.
Oh, you mean kind of
Yeah.
like that weapon that Burns is trying to blow himself up with now?
Kinda.
Although that's biologic. Could it really be considered a weapon, or is that more of an infection?
If you see how he actually uses it or puts it on,
Eh.
I'd say it counts more like a fleshlight.
Ooh.
I shoots parasites.
Yes, it's a flashlight for your hand.
But all right, so this question did come up late in the previous stream that has been repeated by Rodent that I'm curious about because I am unaware of it. What is Yuri's Night?
Well, hold on. I'll do a Google foo.
If it's something about Japanese stuff, I
It-
have
Sounds
an
like
idea.
that.
It,
Yeah.
it was related to the holiday discussion we were having on the previous stream. So that's where...
All right, hold on just a second here. I'm getting it pulled up from the actual source page, or from their source page, so to speak. It's apparently a space party on October 27th, 2021. About Yuri's Night.
I'm guess this is a celebration of Lieutenant Gagarin visiting space for the first time.
I would assume so.
That's a
That's
Russian
not
thing.
what I was thinking in that case.
Celebration of the first man in orbit. So yeah, it was from Gagarin. So
And
Go-
also the first space shuttle launch too.
yeah, but
No,
but wasn't Yuri's Night? Didn't his work actually begin on October 27th, which is why they picked that night? I think that's what
Probably.
I saw from there. So it is
Yeah.
more connected with that, but then they threw in other aspects on top of it. So that is probably a good starting point, and that's probably, if they were to coalesce a lot of the milestones into a single celebration, that would probably be the date that they would go with. But then we're back to the whole question of how do you keep track of that date as you expand throughout the universe? Yay, star dates and a truly universal timekeeping scale.
Stardate, what the fuck?
But it's a...
Don't you mean subdate?
Hmm?
Don't you mean subdate?
No, it would be star date because you're amongst the stars. Go ahead, use it on him. He has a gun. He's trying to get you. Aw, you missed it, Burns.
oh, excuse me.
Stop pointing it at me.
Oh. Well,
Tomato, tomato.
just because he's not pointing it at you doesn't mean he doesn't want to use it on you.
Here, we'll go overkill.
So you should be, proactive and try to take him out first. Go on, grab his gun.
Yeah, the best defense is a good offense. Don't need to defend yourself if there's no one attacking you.
This head crab seem perfectly safe.
50 caliber mini ball.
Yes.
Jeez.
But what gun can you put that into?
A musket.
You're gonna go musket hunting in that game?
I don't see why not. That's always like to happen.
That's a that seems a really odd. As a Brit, a 50 caliber front stuffer seems like a really odd caliber choice.
It's actually slightly smaller than what they used during the Civil War.
Yeah, I mean, I'd expect either 455, 452, or 577, or even 75 caliber. Those are the calibers as a Brit we would associate with front stuffed rifles
I think the Civil War era.
or muskets and muskets. I think the only one that wasn't that was the rifle that was used by the rifles during the Peninsular War period. I've forgotten the name of the damn thing. As used in the Sharp series of stories.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the caliber, but I think the main
about-
caliber used during the Civil War was actually a .65.
Yeah, I got the feeling that the rifle that I can't remember the name of right this moment was 625, something like that.
Yeah, it would kind of depend too, though.
I'm going to have to Google this now, aren't I?
Come on, Katie.
You're not the only one.
But remember, the Second Amendment
Millie.
was only available, or they made that when they only had muskets.
Yeah, that's not true.
They had. Now that was a stupid thing to Google for, because if I put Sharp's
And
rifle in there,
now
I
you're
get
on a
the
list.
Sharp's muzzle, the Sharp's breech loading rifle, don't I?
Oh no. Just now, you're now on a list.
Ooh, spicy. Huh?
Yeah, the Springfield is the one that I remember
Millie,
first.
leave it.
See, the 1855 was in .58 caliber.
Yeah, I think that's what we call 577.
Oh, the 1842 musket, the first musket produced with a percussion lock, and the last .69 caliber smoothbore. But-
It was 62 caliber.
Yeah, 17.526 millimeter.
The Baker rifle was the name of the thing I was trying to remember. Designed by Ezekiel Baker
Stop.
of Whitechapel.
Stop.
But why? You're holding me.
No, he wants to go see mom, but mom's not ready for him yet.
Because she's still eating.
No.
Watching the documentary on the A-10 with my roommate, they mentioned the 22 millimeter Gatling. He says
30
22.
millimeter.
He says 22. That's not very big. I replied, not .22, 22 millimeters.
It's not 22, though.
No, it was a 30 millimeter. Yeah.
Hi. Hi. You should
But-
be showing them that. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, I thought the A10 was
No, it's
30.
not.
Yeah.
And the,
Yeah, it's a 30 mil.
and the Apaches are 20, isn't it?
I don't remember.
On the Apache, I think that's a 20.
That I don't remember. What?
20s and 30s tend to be the more usual calibers for aircraft cannon, don't they?
Oh shit!
Well, I know the MiGs used a combination of 20 and two 20s and a single 30 on the 15 and 17, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But the American, where's the armament?
Yeah, well, you guys were never really into cannons until quite late, were you? You were all up and in with your 50 cal, with your 650 cows.
Yeah, why go with a cannon when you have a bunch of perfectly good Browning M2 50 caliber machine guns around?
Yeah.
You gotta.
Or their aviation equivalents.
The only difference is the way that it fired. Like, the fact the Modus had the broom handle with the thumb trigger. The only difference with your aviation ones, the ones that actually got mounted in aircraft for the pilot to fire, they just changed the mechanism to activate the firing lever.
Electrical firing. I thought they also had slightly shorter barrels.
Where's your toy at, baby girl?
No, the barrels were interchangeable. They just staggered them in the wing route.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it depends on the types, because in your P-51s, in your Mustangs, the muzzles are all flush with the leading edge, whereas with the P-47 Thunderbolts, they were
they tapered out.
Yeah, they tapered out, and they taper out.
For such a mic aficionado,
No,
bleeding through.
always.
But no, the Apache actually uses a single barrel 30 millimeter M230 chain gun.
Oh, is that a 30 as well? I thought
Yep.
that was smaller than that.
I think the one that uses the smaller caliber is the Cobra. Is that the AH-1?
The Apache. I've seen it have a triple barrel gun on it.
Okay. Sorry.
The original was a tri-barrel, but the tri-barrel is now actually only on the AH-1 Cobra series. Let's see, armament. And yep, that is a 20 millimeter. It's the Cobra.
Ah, okay.
And because the U.S. military designation system loves to be confusing, no, there are very, very, very few similarities between the UH-1 and the AH-1. The AH-1 is not a Huey with firearms.
No, far from it.
Far from it. And Hank, what's the...
I think they might have the same engine, and I think the UH-1 and the AH-1, I think, have the same engine and rotor head, but that's about it.
And not even the same engine. As the engine exhaust, the engine output is redesigned on the AH-1, but the transmission, gearbox, rotor head, and blades initially were the same and interchangeable.
Yeah.
But that was about it. Oh, they might have been able to swap skis. But those don't really matter.
No.
But yeah, as of variants. Let's see. We are up to. They are at the AH-1 Zebra King Cobra.
Okay, I thought the U.S. Army had dropped the Cobra in favor of the Apache now, and it was just the Navy left with the Sea Cobra.
The Marines use the Marines are the only branch in the U.S. that currently operate the Cobra. That's it. The
because there's, I thought there was the Sea Cobra, which was the U.S. Navy variant of it.
I don't remember the Navy being. Well, technically, it was the Navy if it was the Marines.
Here you go, Jared. This is the one I was warning you about.
Let me see.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Cations. Anybody want some cations? Although I'd rather have the deep fried onions.
The best part about this meme is that it doesn't show you. He's actually cocking his gun or loading his gun to aim at him.
Oh yeah, I had seen that one earlier today. It was hilarious.
I missed it.
You missed it?
Yeah.
Hold on. I'll pull it back up.
Because for
He's
some
not
reason,
wrong.
Because for some reason it didn't pop up on my screen. Yeah, I saw. I think Geistview posted that on Twitter.
A lot of people did.
I mean, you have to admit, it's a catchy way of doing it.
And technically, he's not wrong.
What's funny is somebody shared just the basic dad jokes meme with Bob from Bob's Burger, saying, basically saying all of that. The Earth is made of 75% of water and it's uncarbonated. And then the responding person's like, so? Well, technically the Earth's flat, and it's just, you read that and you're just like, God, I hate you.
And I still want my deep fried onions.
But do they got to be bloomin'?
I don't know. I mean, I'm quite happy to have them with cations as well, but I'd rather have deep fried onions.
Oh, there are times I ask myself, where the hell do they find these absolute frickin' idiots? Then I remember, oh yeah, Facebook is still a thing.
I was gonna say, Alabama,
Florida,
Mississippi,
Louisiana,
Texas.
parts of the United Kingdom.
Hey, don't talk about Scotland that way.
The Earth.
Humanity is fucked. But speaking of humanity being fucked, I'm not sure how to really dive into and broach this topic in particular because
Just rip the band-aid off.
if you don't like the decision that a jury and a court of law made, do the world a favor and shut the fuck up until you've read the relevant case law to actually be educated on the topic.
But that would mean actually having to do some kind of research with it, and not just, throwing your opinions out there.
Jared, does this sum up what you really mean?
Hang on. Let's start out with what he's actually... Wait a minute. Rage Against the Machine official... Oh, fuck's sake. All right.
You want me to go to the first tweet?
No. Let's just start with this one. This is the settler logic of America's founding myth. Whiteness must cast itself as the victim in order to justify its violence against those resisting its oppression. Welcome to the land of the free, home of the brave. Okay, motherfucker. No. Yeah, the bitch-ass cop who killed Rice got off. The Arbery case is ongoing. Kyle acted in self-defense. Other than being fucked up cases, none of these have anything in common, let alone anything to do with whiteness or oppression. Come on, wake up. And
Hold on.
you are being so kind. How ironic that a band with a song called Wake Up is about as asleep as they come. Yes! See, and that's it. Their first 3 albums actually had some depth and intelligence to them. And then they went off the deep end.
But something I found rather interesting, and I brought this up before too. Why is it somehow, or why is it that the whole whiteness thing only depends on the case itself? As in, you have someone who's Hispanic, and goes out and shoots someone, he's white. You have another white person shooting, Hispanic, and that in that case, that person is Hispanic, and the one shooting is white.
I think
Why
it's safe to say that there are people in the media and people among the populace who have bought into the media narrative that if someone does something wrong and you don't like it, it's automatically because of the white man. And that any minority can never be wrong because it's the white man who pushed them into it.
Yeah, that's
But how-
totally 100%.
Hispanics are by and large white?
Because it all depends on the narrative that they are trying to push in that instant. Are they trying to portray the Hispanic as a victim? Well, then they're Hispanic. Are they trying to portray the person who has Hispanic descent as the offending party, the person who did the wrong? Well, then he's white.
Like Rittenhouse, like a certain, what was his name? Something Zimmerman.
Yeah. And you also have a overly rosy characterizations of the people who were on the receiving end of the violent act. Let's start with the first one. When you actually look at what the kid was posting as his presentation of himself on social media was one thing. But what did they do in the media? Oh, they backed up about 5 years and were posting essentially prepubescent pictures of him. Why? because he was the victim, so we gotta make him as angelic as possible. We gotta stroke those pity points as much as possible.
The fuck?
That's one angry Tribble.
I didn't know Tribbles had teeth that big.
Where's Fribble when I need to ask him a question?
No, but with the whole thing, and even looking now, the whole Rittenhouse thing has essentially seen as, oh yes, but Rittenhouse just wanted to go out and shoot black people. Look at all the black people he's harmed.
None.
And yeah, about that, the people that were, well, pretty much trying to do some stupid fucking shit, as in hit him with a fucking skateboard, or try to shoot him, or try to take his gun.
Yeah, trying to shoot him with a concealed weapon that you're not supposed to have. I wonder
Yeah,
why.
he didn't really have a valid license, did he?
Nope.
Oh, and apparently, Jump Kick Man, they found out who he is, and he doesn't exactly have a clean record either. Apparently, he was charged in April and was given 12 months probation, and he's now in jail for violating that probation.
Oh, imagine that.
Surprise. No, but, okay, I can't really say anything about the people who were trying to do stupid fucking shit there. Not just by themselves, because, as is mentioned in the court too, that behavior is essentially separate in this case to what's happening in the case at hand. But if you were to go at it and look at it, one of them was a kiddie diddler. Another one of them was a spousal abuser. Gage here was carrying a firearm that he did not at the time have a valid license for. A pistol, mind you, which is kind of worse in most cases the way they see it, than a rifle. But the whole narrative change has been that, oh yeah, Kyle crossed state lines, so look at it. Look at all the awful things he did. All that shit.
Here's my take on it. The left is screaming open borders everywhere. Also the left. He crossed state lines. Wait, what?
Oh, it's entirely hypocrisy to fit the narrative that they're trying to push in the moment. There is no consistency there, because if you actually held them to a consistent standard, even one that they set, they would end up losing the means and reason for over half of their arguments and stated issues. But just like an overall entitlement issue, they don't care what the subject actually is. They just want to be right. They don't care what it is. They don't care why. They just have to be right because I'm special. It's just the way it is. I'm right. You're wrong. Like, there was a video that came across my feed again after it was done 8-9 months ago, where they had a group of 6 people. And the subject was intelligence. And you actually had a quite an eclectic group of people. Except one of them was okay, where the hell is that echo coming
like
from?
A motherfucker.
That sounds like it's coming from Alan.
No, not Alan. It stopped. That was really weird. I'm going to blame Crew since he came in here.
I know it. Fuckers.
But so in this group of people, out of the 6, 5 of them have college degrees. One of them a PhD, another one working towards PhD, but then the rest are undergrad. And the one guy who doesn't have a college degree, active duty Marine. So they...
I know which video you're talking about.
Yes, they rank themselves after just quick discussions and getting a kind of baseline of their individual backgrounds. And during the prediction phase, the group put the Marine at number 6. The Asian guy working towards his PhD is number 1. And this 30-year-old PhD holder as number 2. Now, the attitude that this PhD holder had was really endemic of a lot of the issues around the formalized education system in the U.S. as it is currently pushed and stands right now. Because her justification as for why she's near the top in this intelligence metric ranking system is, oh, I don't know, PhD holder, works for a biotech firm, and we make COVID vaccine testing kits. And the actual results?
Hold on, Jared. I'm gonna.
Oh, you're gonna pull up the. Oh, yes.
Hold on. I'm gonna start at the very beginning of the video where they just kind of in general are standing there. So take a guess at who's the Marine.
The lone white guy.
If you turn on closed captions, you can just, kill the audio. We can still see what they're talking about.
Anyways, so they had them take an IQ test.
Oh, and
And
no,
this is where they rank themselves.
yeah. Oh, go back. Start from there. So here's Tyler. He's the youngest of the bunch. Only a high school graduate, but he's active duty Marines. Then, oh, Maria. Not only all this academic stuff, at one point she even threw in, she's first generation. Her parents immigrated from Cuba to Miami, Florida.
Yep.
So, talk about ticking them boxes. Oh, here's Ray. I like him. He's just like, whatever. But when we actually get through to it, so let's go ahead and find where they've actually ranked themselves. As a thing, there's typical fucking Jubilee. Oh, here's a 3-minute topic. Let's go ahead and stretch it out.
So let's. Come on, where's the spot where you guys mark yourselves? Okay, so this is the order where they get them.
Yeah, so this is the order that they collectively came up with. Asian guy number 1, our star pupil Maria number 2, then the other 2 ladies 3 and 4, artsy guy with a degree 5, and the Marine number 6.
That's about right.
Let's go to the actual IQ score. The top row is the results from the IQ test. Asian
Starting
guy
with 1 over here.
Asian guy number 1. Kaylee, the white girl, number 2. Tyler, the Marine, number 3. Then the other 2, and Maria is dead last. Now, here is the kicker. Here is the real kicker. The IQ score that Asian dude got, 136. The IQ score that the artsy guy got, 120 something. 123. So you have a 13-point spread between the top 5, and then 112 for Maria.
Yeah, but what about
Oh,
all the
no.
bullshit about she went to this and did that bullshit?
Well, here's the thing. They all tried to make excuses for why the other three were lower than everybody else, than the first three.
I mean, I thought for sure the Marine stayed dead last, but I was shocked by that.
Oh, he's a radar tech.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the smart Marines. He's not a grunt. He's actually a tech Marine.
Gotcha.
Wasn't the white girl also the computer programmer?
Software designer, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so problem solve. The thing that these three have in common is they're analytical problem solvers in what their field is. Not to say that Maria couldn't do the same thing with her, but if I remember correctly, she just works at the company. She didn't say exactly what she does.
Correct.
They manufacture the COVID tests. But
I
that
thought
being
she
said,
was
she
a-
can be in marketing.
Yeah, she has a PhD,
I thought she was a PhD bio
cancer
Eh, eh,
biologist.
She
cancer biologist.
she
so,
she has a PhD, works at a biotech firm with a background in cancer research.
But
See,
her IQ
see,
is
that's where
lower than
she
most.
was. She was really slimy about what her actual PhD was in, because she never outright said PhD in this. It was just, I have a PhD. This is where I work.
Okay.
oh, that's a bit. Okay,
Yeah.
because obviously, having just seen this, it looks more like they were trying to imply she had a PhD that involved her
That was her.
doing biology.
That was her implication by the way she presented herself. And this is where the results end up being really hilarious, because in the lead up to all of this, what Maria here tried to say was the true measure of intelligence is not just IQ, but EQ, emotional
Quotient.
emotional quotient. Yeah, basically the touchy-feely side of it. Whereas the IQ test is really a metric for your capacity to problem solve, to handle data and come to a conclusion. A lot of people who get PhDs end up in such a rigid format for so long that they do have a difficult time thinking about things in other ways.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you watch the whole intro to the beginning of it, they talk about they're all like, oh yeah, IQ test only measures part of what it is, but you should be able. There's other things that factor in.
And here's the real kicker. Your actual psychologists, your actual people who work in the fields dealing with neuropathy, personalities, and actual metrics that need to be reliable for the research that they do, have outright said there is no such thing as EQ. EQ was a term that was coined by a journalist.
Some dumbasses.
No,
But it's really easy for people to latch on to it too, especially if they're manipulative.
yeah, and it was even said in the chat, and I've been saying this for a while. Just because you're able to write PhD after your name doesn't mean you're intelligent in all aspects and all fields. It means you have a very specialized educational formal training background that just means you can go through the motions and you can actually stick with a project long enough. That's truly what it means. It doesn't necessarily mean you're right, especially about topics that are not in your field of expertise.
Oh, you know what's even funnier is the Abba and Preach coverage of it. Have you seen that one, Jared?
That is actually the video that came up recently across my feed that brought this one back to my attention. Because those two guys are fucking hilarious, and I would actually love to have a chat with them sometime, especially because in their analysis of this, they started going into how people don't really understand what it takes to even be accepted into the U.S. military, let alone what the requirements are to maintain that position for any length of time, and what has to be dealt with. And this goes back to my whole thing of college is great and all. Higher education is a wonderful thing, but not everybody is cut out for it. And it should not be the emphasis and profitability segment that it currently is. We should not be afraid to tell our kids, our grandkids, that it's okay. Go to a trade school, learn an actual skill, learn and increase your knowledge set and everything in the field, in the real world, actually doing the work. And one of the biggest things is a lot of people look at the military, especially the U.S. military on the enlisted side, is, oh, you couldn't make it into college, that's why you went into the military. Oh no, fuck you. I could have went to college straight away. I chose not to because I knew what was going to be better for me.
I was in my second year of college when I joined. But I joined right after 9/11.
Yeah, so that, well, 9/11 happened while I was still in high school in my senior year, so.
Oh, okay.
But Jared, just out of curiosity here, how many other jobs do you have where you actually do have an IQ requirement to be able to sign up for it?
They don't use an actual IQ test, but the military is one of them that they have their own test that is essentially an IQ test to determine whether you're smart enough or too smart to join.
Yeah. I had a friend who was not allowed to join the Royal Air Force Regiment because his testing scores were too high. In the end, he had to do it. In the end, that's what, I mean, I'd known him since I was 14. And all he'd ever wanted to be was a gunner in the Royal Air Force Regiment. And he couldn't do that because he was too smart.
Sean Carroll asked, define too smart, an IQ of 180.
I have absolutely no idea because,
basically, you gotta be me.
Oh yeah, okay.
No. You have to be what some other asshat on this platform claims to be.
Sorry, yeah. But no, I mean that's one of those. That was one of those things. At 19, I was offered an apprenticeship if I wanted one, which was a full 3-year Royal Air Force apprenticeship, and I really bloody well should have taken it. But I didn't fancy another 3 years of school.
So what's that an IQ test in of itself?
The ASVAB actually does, at least used to, have an equivalent where if you essentially aced the ASVAB, they could actually decline you. It was whether or not they believed your mentality and your personality would actually be conducive to military training on whether or not they would accept you. But generally speaking, the top 0.5% of IQ score, so you're looking, depending which scale you use, if you use a scale that tops out at about 180, which puts Einstein at a 163, I believe it is. If your IQ is above 140, you're either going in officer or you're not going in at all. 120 to 140 is that range where they're, okay, we want you, we'll take you. But if you're at the higher end of it, we're going to give you a little more of a side eye to see if we think you will be able to conform to the environment that is the military. If you are a 90 to 120, you're in. Now, mind you, the benchmark of IQ on that lower scale for mentally limited and otherwise mental retardation, the actual proper term for so many fucking decades for it, that line was 80.
And when the military doesn't want you because you're too dumb,
Yeah, and that's the thing is, even your lowest ASVAB score requirement jobs still require a higher than expected IQ because you need to be trainable. And if you are too stupid, you are not trainable.
and you better fucking believe that the military tried that out time and time again until they got that.
Yeah. Sean Carroll says, I don't see the relevance of too smart. It goes into attitude, ego, and conformity to the ranks. If you have a higher than, if you are in the upper echelon of IQ, you are generally hyper intelligent, genius level, and you have a hard time adapting to social constructs. And the military is very much a meat grinder when it came to that.
Isn't there a thing too where essentially the higher IQ you have or the higher up on the scale you are, the more likely you are to have other mental issues as well?
That too. Especially nowadays, yes. They have been gathering more evidence to make that correlation that your higher intelligent people tend to be the people who are more prone and show more symptoms that would be classified as borderline autistic disorder, but also depression, anxiety, Asperger's, things that would severely affect how well you're able to perform in a high stress or highly social environment. So there is a sweet spot. You don't want someone who's overly intelligent in a regular military job. Now, mind you, there are exceptions. If you are going to be stuck in an purely analytical, like games and theory, military strategy and intelligence type of thing, that's where your waivers and your flexibility of the upper echelon comes in. The military will take someone who might otherwise be unfit, but then put them into a specific program to leverage their skills when the situation warrants it. So right now, they are more apt to say no than to put you into that specific thing. Time of actual outright full-on nation versus nation global warfare, where we need every advantage we can get, a lot of these limitations and restrictions for who can join and do what jobs are typically thrown out the window. At that point, it's very basic. Are you fit enough? Can we train you? Can we train you enough to put you out to where we need the body? Okay, we'll take you. That's where you get a lot more flexibility when it becomes an attrition-based numbers game.
To the point where at times they'll even ignore your previous experience and stick you in some completely different and unrelated trade where they got to train you from scratch, rather than using people who are already qualified in a particular area.
The environment you're talking about too, Jared, is kind of where they start doing a lot more direct commissioning going on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you have someone who has the knowledge base and the higher intelligence, and they want to put them directly into an analytical position for military strategy and military intelligence, you have direct commissioning, and they get their own specialized induct training, and then they're sent to the job. But again, that does not happen during times of peace. They do that sort of stuff from the U.S. military standpoint during times of war only.
Yeah, I mean, my friend who couldn't get in the Royal Air Force joined the Army Air Corps, then transferred into becoming a tanker in one of the Lancer regiments. So, yeah, light reconnaissance stuff. Promoted pretty quickly to warrant officer, commissioned, and made it to major.
Yeah.
In a 22-year career. And when you do that type of commissioning in the British Army, major is the highest rank you're ever going to make.
Yeah, simply because of time and their methods and metrics.
It's one of the conditions. It's one of those things on the type of commission you get. You ain't getting promoted above major. That doesn't matter how long you stay in for. You're not gonna rise to command rank.
Yeah, you're not gonna be command level because you haven't been in that structure through there are enough differences in the career path that they're like, nope. You're essentially an LDO, a limited duty officer. Like an LDO in the U.S. Navy is only going to go as high as commander. They may get to a command position, but what they're going to command is a maintenance facility. They might be a department head on a ship, but they won't be a full-fledged commanding officer.
Yeah. I mean, it was the same for us in the Royal Air Force. You'd get a lot of senior NCOs commissioned especially as engineering officers from the engineering trades, and they're only ever going to go as high as squadron leader, which is the Royal Air Force equivalent of major. And the equivalent of US Air Force major as well.
Yeah.
And I only definitely know the US Air Force equivalent because my squadron commander, who should have been a squadron leader, was a major, United States Air Force, exchange duty post. So
Yeah,
they were
almost
always. They were always a major in the US Air Force.
Going back with this, though, and looking just at the way that those people perceive things in the test. If you look at it from the beginning, Maria tried to take charge. She tried to make it so that it was more about how she wanted it to be from the beginning. She didn't really want to read the group. She wanted to impose what she thought already on the group.
And then tried to say that Tyler was the least mature of the bunch.
Yeah. That's something where you do have a lot of these people who are very sure of themselves and who are very, let's say, not charismatic per se, but they talk shit to the degree that people actually start believing them. And they can come with all manners of outrageous claims, or they can try to say shit that's completely unrelated. And then act as if that somehow makes it valid for them to talk about this, or talk this way about it. You have that everywhere. And as you mentioned, we do have an example of someone who's been doing that, who claims to have 183 IQ, who's had a lot of claims about intelligence, etc., where you haven't really seen any signs of that being the actual case of it. And people buy into it. A lot of people buy into it simply because these people say it, because it's something that it sounds good.
Well, you repeat a lie often enough and with such conviction, there are going to be people who believe you because you say it with such emphasis, you say it with such conviction that how could they be lying? That's exactly what a con man does. They make you believe their bullshit so you support them and they can leech off you.
Yeah, we know one perfect example of that. Fucking Steve Jobs.
But Jobs was at least successful in some metrics.
Just not in the amount of showers per week, though. Or month.
No. Oh,
Yeah.
That was another thing that came. I forget who it was that was saying it, but it was some music person that has an obscene amount of money because he says that he doesn't do laundry. He just goes to like CVS or some fucking cheap dollar store type thing and picks up new underwear and socks. He does not do laundry. He just he wears it, throws it out. Doesn't do laundry. Just wear it, throw it out, go buy new shit the next week. It's like,
But why would you wear something directly from the shop?
I have a feeling ethnicity played a role in this. Because the person is of African descent, which leads me to believe a lower socioeconomic background during the formative years as a child. So never was taught how to do laundry, or was taught and told how to do it, but it was done in such a tone by the parents that just made the decision, fuck you, I'm not doing what you tell me.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't see it, though, because, well, when you have something like clothes in the shop, they're not going to be really clean when you get them.
Well, outerwear, yes. Here in the U.S., underwear is, especially of that price point.
You can buy in bulk, and it comes in plastic packages. So,
Exactly. You're not buying underwear that someone else had potentially tried on at that point.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't mean tried on. I mean that from the factory and all that shit.
Oh.
It's still not going to be clean.
Oh, I agree with you on that aspect. Again, this is defiance against how they were raised, if they were even raised and told that when you get new clothes, you need to wash them before you wear them. I remember being told that. I remember being told that this is what you do because of the manufacturing, the packaging, the shipment process, and then it's sitting on the shelves. Better safe than sorry. And on some clothes, after the manufacturing process and everything, there could still be excess dye in there. So get it out in the wash instead of on your body.
Especially jeans.
Yep.
That's true.
Guys, I just don't.
Oh, Andy, great to see you, and you are not wrong. Andy DeWitt out in the chat. Been off YouTube for almost a year. Things have changed.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Hey, man, Gun, I saw your comment in a video the other day. Or a comment on the video, I should say.
But things have not
But
changed necessarily for the better.
I was going to say, but I'm also sure things have changed, but they're also still very much the same.
Yeah. It's still a shit show.
Yeah, it's just some players have switched sides.
That's putting it lightly.
I don't know, because you see some of these things too, where the way that people get money, or after people get money, the way that they behave, that it can change so much.
Oh,
Even
we have a
something
perfect
that's
example of that, don't we?
one.
In this community,
We have a few.
they
Yeah,
taste of fucking money, and they're like, "Oh my god, they're different people."
I'd say that in most cases. Go on. No, but I'd say that in most cases, it's not really the money, it's the fame. And the whole thing with, oh yeah, it's actually okay for me to do this now.
It's the ego boost.
Yeah.
Really? People think you get famous from fucking YouTube? Okay.
Yes.
Actually, can.
Because numbers on a page matter so much.
But they
in how
really
you are a
don't.
person.
Okay.
What? No, there are times where the numbers and the metrics do matter. But the people that we are giving shit for about the way they act in terms of those numbers are nowhere near the level that the numbers actually matter. They need to add a few zeros to those metrics, and then they will be at the level where the metrics actually truly matter.
Okay. So basically, they think they're a bigger deal than they are. I got you.
Yep.
Which is actually quite common, come to think of it.
It's just sad. It really is.
Yeah, but that's something that
I wouldn't even say it's sad, because that would mean that I'd have to care about what happens to them.
Well, it's so. Oh, nah, I suppose.
you could say it's pathetic. Because, well, let's face it, we have a lot of people who claim a lot of fame or try to claim that they're so good, who have been building their channels on actually buying subs. And it's a topic that might be a bit touchy, but it's something where if you get a couple of thousand subs after having talked about actually buying subs from someone, I see that as being a potential issue.
Wait, hang on.
Right,
So,
but I thought we had this discussion already with what was her face, when they started that one channel with the other girls.
That's not
that-
who
that-
we're currently.
that
that's
does-
not who we're
The
currently
one that faked the cancer.
Ilya?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ilya.
There's similarities there. And well, it was funny. So the time period that Leon was just showing on screen there, in a 3-week period, one of these channels in 3 weeks has a total growth of 100. And in those 21 days that were listed, all that growth was spread across, well, is it 5 days? Where you have a gain of 100, loss of 100, gain of 100, loss of 100, gain of 100.
Mm-hmm.
They're bouncing. They're plateauing. They've plateaued.
Would this be one of two particular
Yes.
people recently?
If you'd be buying subs, wouldn't you want to buy more than a couple of hundred?
But see, here's the thing. It's not that they are currently doing it. It's that when they got started, they did it. Which got the channel to grow, which caught algorithms, which caught attention, which caught notoriety. And they can't do it now because the suspicion is there. So if they start getting too much growth, questionable growth, the jig is up.
That's true.
Jared, internal chat.
Yes. I already said yes.
Okay. Perfect. That's what I thought.
Now, but with this, and this is actually something that I feel is really fucking bad for the communities involved. That's been one of the things that's caused the fucking splits that have been really common in the last 3 years. people have been trying to do all this shit, not just because it's interesting to them, but because they've seen it as a job. Some people have quit their day jobs just in order to start shit on YouTube. You have people who have been completely and utterly nobodies before. They now feel they have the greatest fucking ego in the world because of YouTube. And as we've seen, we've even had cases of people trying to, well, be predatory to others because they've seen the cloud from YouTube as a thing that they could use in order to, how to put it nicely?
Curry other types of attention.
Yeah. And that kind of shit has been all over the fucking place. And we've seen the kind of people now who, when something is brought up, they know that something they can do to get more attention, to get more views, is to shit on other people. And they do it. Even if they have to lie, even if they have to cheat, even if they have to completely and utterly throw other people under the bus, they'll do it because it grows their channel, it grows their reputation.
Or agree with false allegations and do what they accuse other people of doing.
And
Oh, you
then
mean
some.
being hypocrites?
And then some.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that kind of shit is all over. And there's been so much of that bullshit going on. And it really pisses me off still that people are talking about the flat earth community or the community regarding this. It was never a community. It's always been a collection of different communities. But when people started seeing it as a community, well, I have to get more views from the community. And in order to do that, I'm going to shit on other people in the community.
Yeah,
People
cutthroat for no fucking reason.
Yeah. And instead of actually building a community, everyone's just branched off more and more because they want more and more, how to put it, specialization, or in some cases, well, beat someone up porn.
Well, it's really telling when, in order to satisfy one's own ego, they have to denigrate and berate someone else.
Yeah.
So that really is my advice to the public at large. Truly pay attention to not just what the person is saying, but how they are presenting and how they are carrying themselves. Oftentimes you will see people that you thought had one thing in mind that actually had one standard or image that they were portraying as being the case, only to find them being just as bad or worse than the people they're attacking. Just do yourself a favor and don't just dismiss things offhand because of some sense of loyalty to someone who actually has zero loyalty to you. And that even goes with what I'm saying and what Leon's saying here tonight. Take it on board. Don't just dismiss it. But also don't just outright take it wholeheartedly at face value. Let it sink. Evaluate it. Come to grips with it yourself. And apply it to what you see going on around. You might be surprised what happens and what you end up noticing.
And if people start showing signs of actually not being what they claim to be, you don't really have an obligation to try to cover up for these people. You don't have an obligation to try to be nice to these people. Your only obligation, really, is to try to make sure that you can actually live with yourself.
Well, and that's where I was going to follow that up with is I'm not saying for anyone to go and attack anyone in any sort of way, shape, or form. Make your decision for you. Take all the information on board and make the decision that you believe is best for you and what you see and how you gauge everything. But if you do decide to remove support from someone that you have been supporting for a while, you're not obligated to give them a reason. I would even go so far to say, don't even give a reason or interact. Just disconnect and move on. Just fade away is really the best way to describe it. Because ultimately, that type of personality is not going to care about what you say. They are not going to care about you as the individual, you as a person. The only thing they're going to care about is the metric that you were associated with.
Yeah. And when they do shit like excuse really fucking shitty behavior for the simple reason that if they were to have to call it out, it would cost them subs. I'm sorry, but people are actually worth more than your fucking subs.
Well,
It's
this
not
used to be a
some-
time when integrity was a thing. Things like honor meant something.
That's never really been the case.
Well, for some of these people.
Well,
That's
overall,
really sad.
yeah, I don't really care about him. He's just a piece of shit. So the rest of the people there. I'm talking about shit that happened before that, though. That still goes on because certain people, let's say, care more about money than the actual people of these communities.
What?
Because
Say it isn't so.
Yeah, I know. It's really surprising, isn't it? I mean, who cares that someone just causes someone else to get PTSD or triggers the PTSD?
And not just trigger it, triggers it to the point that the person completely disappears from all social groups online that they were actively a part of.
And not something that just happens on accident, but something where the person does this with the express intention of triggering that PTSD. Yeah. Nah. I don't like those kinds of people. And also, you can be a complete and utter asshole, but you can still be not a complete and utter cunt. You can be an asshole without being malicious about it. You can be an asshole and not be. Well, it's hard for you to not be mean to people, but you can be it without ill intent.
There's a line. You can be a genuine shit person asshole, but not go to the point of, I'm going to do this to force this person away. And this is where I would even go so far to say that Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, otherwise known as Ross Thatcher, is actually a better person than the one we're talking about right now.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, but
At least Ross is honest about it.
He's
To a
honest
degree.
about. Well, he's honest about a lot of things when it comes just to how he's acting with it. I can't speak for if he actually believes what he says most of the time. But he at least isn't a fucking weasel about it.
Yes, Rodent, Howard Stern is one of them. You can be an asshole, but not a dick.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. You can be a complete and utter arsehole towards someone. Say the way that we treat Tasty at times. But at the same time, we do care for Tasty. We want him to do well. We don't want harm to come to him. As opposed to if we actually wanted that, and we just bullied the ever-living fuck out of him for no other reason than to cause him harm. But then again, that motherfucker seems to like his job now.
Oh, yeah.
He's weird.
And that's the thing. He's an oddball, and he could handle the loving barbs that we would throw his way. And some people were there on the Discord server when I asked him this. When he told me that he was decided to join the Navy, and he wanted the best chance that he could to thrive in the environment, I asked him, do you want us to give you the treatment that you're going to get? Do you want us to treat you as if you're in? And he said yes. So the insults, the commentary, the poking fun, the overall shit that we've given him on the server that the public can see and also the veterans channel can see, he was asked if he really wanted that treatment. He was given the opportunity to say no, don't change anything. And he said, no, treat me like you would if I was in and we were working together. So I said, all right, motherfucker, you asked for it. You're going to get it. And he has handled it, and he has actually grown from it, and he has recognized the reason why those of us who did it, were willing to give him that treatment, because there's a bit of self-awareness and a bit of thick skin that you have to be able to survive in a stressful environment like that, regardless of the treatment you're going to get from people you work with that you have to work with, whether you like them or not. And we gave them as much shit as we could, given the medium that we were interacting with them in. But when things happened to them that warranted a softer, more human touch, that's exactly what he got. There was still that mutual respect of one human to another, but when everything was okay and he was good, yeah, we went right back to giving him shit and giving him hell. And he laughed it up. He enjoyed it all. And as a result of that, he has had very little problem adapting. He has had very little problems adjusting from a civilian environment to being on a ship forward deployed outside the continental U.S. And if it wasn't for conflicting schedules, he would be on the panel with us tonight. He has actually said that he misses being on the panel, but time zones are a thing.
He can sleep when he's dead.
I'm guessing that since it's US Navy, he's he's at 0307 at the moment.
No.
Or do they still work to local time?
No, they go local time. Hang on.
He's in a place that's slightly closer to 6 in the evening. I think it is.
No, it's about noon. It's actually just after noon.
I say he's just 6 hours ahead.
From you, yes. He's 14 hours ahead of East Coast. He's in one of the time zones I used to be in. Lucky motherfucker.
I was going to say, I figured that would be about there.
Well, you know it. So go for it, Leon.
He seems to really be enjoying it there, with pretty much everything, including his job.
Yeah, and that's why I told him is if you can handle the shit that we're gonna give you, and you make the most out of the training and doing the actual job, it's all on you at that point. I mean, nothing would be able to stop him, and he's been thriving in it. I give him a lot of fucking credit for that. But what I was about to say is there are times I'll be watching certain types of shows, and it really makes me want to be back over there, but I don't have the means to spend as much time there right now as I would like. Yes. Yeah. Rodent, you have that right. There is a gray scale between friendly ribbing and sadistic cruelty. And in the military, we really flirt with that scale.
We
Flirt
hate
with
each
it.
other. We're just by it.
Oh no! It starts out as flirting.
We're Frenching that thing.
Well, see, yeah, I mean, like in the Navy, we call each other all kinds of names, but the thing is, we do it department-wise. Like as a bosun's mate, only bosun's mates can call each other those kind of names. If an airman tries to say that, it's war.
Yeah, you have to know someone well enough to get away with certain things.
Maybe.
But no, because there are times that you end up hanging out with and becoming friends with someone in a different department. So there's that cross between that ends up happening where,
True.
like, I could give one of my friends who was actually in my division in basic training, he ended up being an AD. I could give him shit that other ADs could, but he had to tell some of them, oh, no, he's cool. We were in basic together.
Yeah.
So there is that bit of a barrier, too, where you can't just go up to a random person that's also in the Navy with you and say the most offensive thing you can. You can try. It might be funny to see, but you're not always going to get away with it.
Yeah.
Well, we had a guy in our division called Keith. He was the most awkward, like, Urkel-looking kid you can imagine, but white as fuck. Like, whiter than whites. And we picked on him all the time, like, all day, every day, to the point where he wanted to just quit. He was crying. He was, oh, man, we were brutal to this guy. But, yeah, one day a few airmen came down to our berthing and started to pick on him. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? They're like, he's a scrawny little fucker. Like, that's our scrawny little fucker. We can pick on him, but you can't. Get the fuck out.
He's ours, not yours, motherfucker.
Yeah. And something in his mind kind of clicked. He's like, oh, I get it now. And so ever since that day, he loved it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, as even Athens says, he works at nights, and he and the guys that he works with will give each other shit, but they know it's all in jest. Like, there's that... There's something in the psychology, especially amongst a male-driven environment, that you have to test each other's limits. It's gonna happen. You gotta know what the person next to you can and can't handle. And the easiest way to do that is by testing where those limits are. And the biggest thing is, can the person take a joke and give a joke? Because some people can take the joke, but after a while will admit, just say whatever you guys want, I don't care. And they'll find it funny and things like that.
Yeah, move on. Yeah.
But the worst people are the ones who can give the joke, but not take it.
Yes. Those are the fucking worst. I hate those motherfuckers. It's like, what's wrong with you, man? You
It's,
need a hug or what? You good? Fuck.
If you're going to dole it out, you better be able to bloody take it.
exactly. And if you can't take it,
Don't dish it.
don't dish it.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
don't spit it unless you enjoy the rain too, motherfucker.
True. Oh man.
Yeah, I think one of the things that civilians especially don't get is, like, you get the army and the air force and the navy and the marines together,
Mhm.
and we'll be fighting like fuck. But don't let a civvy come in and
Think
yeah,
that they can
have a
jump
go-
in.
Yeah, have a go at the air force, because the marines will kick the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
Well, the easiest way that I have found to explain it to some people who've never been in is, think about siblings. And most families, this isn't entirely true, but most families, the siblings will be the worst to each other. But as soon as someone tries to jump in and there's not that acceptance, there's not that, oh no, this person's a good friend, they're essentially family. If it was just some rando stepping in and jumping in on the bandwagon, oh no, it don't work like that.
Yeah. It's on.
But even worse than that, though, are the people trying to stop it for reasons such as, oh yeah, we can't be that mean.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
how me
you
and my
can't
brother
say
are. We
that.
go at each other's throats all the time. My dad and my mom are always the ones trying to stop him. Like, you don't understand. That's just how we are.
Well, and it's not even from parents. We're talking like third party, like someone who's just an observer. That you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't say that. I find that offensive. And you look at the person you're talking to. Do you? Fuck no, that was hilarious. Okay, bye, bitch.
Bye, bitch. Yeah, pretty much.
And that's the thing is, just because you insert yourself into a situation and are then offended by it, doesn't mean it was an offensive situation. You were not in the situation. Shut the fuck up.
That's true.
I just had one of those on another Discord.
Hey, Nikki, do me a favor. Shut the fuck up.
Hey, bitch boy,
What's up?
go play with your little boats.
Nikki, what you really wanted to ask was,
Who does number 2 work for?
Sweet to monetize yet or what?
Maybe.
Maybe. Nice.
We hadn't actually mentioned the that company with the C's and the B's and the S's and all that stuff.
Yeah. That I just realized we did not take a shit on them today. But then again, we were talking about sci-fi franchises and actual handling of sci-fi franchises competently. So of course we're not going to talk about them.
Well, they might take offense just automatically anyway.
Because we weren't talking about them.
Yep.
Well, this is also something, when it comes to the whole offense thing, that I find really fucking hilarious. Jared, do you remember the whole thing from Arch? Or rather, with Major Kill about Arch?
Ah, yes.
When he was throwing a fucking party at it. Because, oh yes, but his humor is so crude, and it's this and it's that. Yes, that's the humor here, in Scandinavia. The humor in Scandinavia isn't going to be the same as in Australia. It's not going to be the same as in the UK. It's not going to be the same as in the US. We can say shit here. Horrible fucking shit. But it's not really something that's supposed to be taken seriously. If you take it seriously, you're the issue.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think that's what I find hilarious about it is when people get bent out of shape from things like that. Actually, I'm pretty sure there was even a comment on the video that even said that is that Arch's humor is just the normal humor for where he's from.
Yeah.
And people don't get that is that different countries, different different societies, no matter how interconnected they are, they have their own uniqueness. They have their own specialities. They have their own flavor. And
I agree with that.
And yeah, actually, Athens points out something too. Japan, like, people think that Japanese humor is a departure from American humor. And it's not that. The idioms and jokes are lost in translation. So, a guy I used to work with was dating a Japanese national for a while and had met her family, and they were making comments about how one of the guys from the shop that they were hanging out with really liked the meat. Like, got him the special sausage because he really loved the meat. And
They didn't get it?
And the Japanese people in the room, when that was said, didn't understand it. Didn't understand the joke. But when Kelsey was able to translate it, and oh no, we're saying he really loves the meat, as in he loves the man meat.
Mm-hmm.
And then it clicked, and that's when he confirmed that, oh no, the Japanese sense of humor is just as depraved and sexual as Americans, if not worse.
Jared, I would like to point you towards a show about a woman who used to live on her own.
I was going to say, gee, I wonder which one you're talking about.
Yeah, the show where a woman goes from living on her own to having a maid that most of the time tries to breed with her, despite both of them being female, you know. There's no small issues with having a younger dragon who's being fucking creeped upon by one of her classmates, who's also a female. Two fucking nerds who don't really do anything else apart from, well, play games. And then a little boy and the quote-unquote demon that he summoned, another fucking dragon, with a, what is it, G-cup?
Oh, even bigger and a sex drive to match.
Yeah. And with this whole entire fucking thing, it's just hilarious.
Oh, it really is. And you get those moments of those questionable off-color bits that are hilarious, but you also get a genuine hilarity and enjoyment because that's not the totality of the series. That's not the totality of the interactions that they have going on. It's not just filler from sexual innuendo to joke to sexual innuendo. There's actual progression. There's actual feeling. There's an actual arc and growth to the characters that happens throughout the series so far. Now we still have, 4 or 5 episodes left?
I know it's more than that. I think that was 12. Well, let's see. I'll just have a look.
What show is this?
Do you want the English translation or the Japanese name?
The Japanese name, obviously.
Well, the translation actually is a literal translation.
Kobayashi-san Shindo Maiden Dragon.
Otherwise, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
That's it. There's 9 episodes left,
Okay, so couple weeks of viewing.
or at least 2,
Well, all right.
maybe. No, but it's a show that's I wouldn't really call it slice of life. Really, it shows a lot of dysfunctional people, well, characters mainly, but they're dysfunctional together.
All right, all right. And was this on Netflix or?
Well, it's there's a site. Actually, go ahead and post the link in the internal chat. That way, crew can get easier access to it.
I was thinking internal chat, or if I want to put it in the server.
Oh, but if we put it on the server, we're gonna have to create a new text chat just for anime, and we don't want to get Tasty's hopes up too much.
No, just give everybody access to it by him.
Fuck.
No, Jared. We create it. We make sure he can see it, but we don't give him permission to get into it.
You know what? Or we create the room, have it be read only, with nothing in there, so every time he goes in there, he can't post in there. He thinks he's locked out, but it's really because no one can post in there.
I thought we already had a channel like that.
We have a few.
What did Tasty do to y'all?
Like I
Nothing.
He asked for it.
He asked for it?
Yeah, quite literally, he asked for it.
And here's the fun part. If he had been on, well,
We'd still be talking about it. We'd still be giving him shit about it.
It's not even that. Because I like anime too. But I have weeb cars because this is Forza, and Forza has weeb cars.
No, you gotta
Yeah.
stay up here.
Oh, and
Are they
so
weeb cars or are they risers?
yes.
Weeb cars.
Oh.
Well, I mean, let me go back to that.
Well,
So air quotes here, short bus. It said the Horizon School for Racers.
Nice. Now, see, here's the thing, Nikki. You have all those in game. Give it a little bit of time, and Tasty could have one in real life.
That's a scary thought.
I'd actually trust Tasty more with that than I trust a lot of people.
Yeah.
Which one would you think he would get?
I don't think I could trust Tasty with a mop.
I was going to say, is that one of them trucks with a US school bus?
Yes.
A short
That
bus.
was a Mercedes-Benz Unimog with the school bus logo on it.
It's the ultimate short bus.
Hey, it's the sort of short bus I want. 'Cause, you know,
It's the short bus you carry. No. It's the short bus you carry weapon grade stupid on.
look,
So
Why
perfect
do
for
you-
Tasty.
Look,
It's also
yeah,
good for
I
going
think we
uphill
had
both
bus.
ways.
We had vans.
at the minute, I need.
You don't
a
want me to get the
fucking
van
short
out.
bus.
Don't make me get the van out.
Yeah, but I need a short bus to get my fucking wheelchair on.
True. There is that aspect that Alan has a legitimate reason for that vehicle. We want to make one like that and give to someone just to fuck with them.
Nice.
You know what I really need is a short bus where I can drive my wheelchair up to the locking plate that's on the floor in front of the steering wheel.
Actually, that
Oh,
kind of
cool.
van right there, a conversion van like that, it could be modified for that.
No,
Oh,
that'd be pretty cool. Apart from the free candy shit on the side.
Wait.
I
Alan.
might be Air Force, but for fuck's sake.
Oh, wait, Alan. You're saying you don't want the Randolph Richardson special paint job?
No, I think I'll pass on that particular comment.
Well,
I think-
no. Hey, hold on.
I think I'd rather have some of the stuff that Top Gear made Clarkson et al. Paint on the side of their vans, on the side of their cars when they were in the deep south of the US of A.
Oh, I remember that one.
Honestly, I'd rather have some of that shit.
That reminds me, we need to watch a certain movie soon.
Which
A certain Christmas movie.
Die Hard. Yeah.
Wait. Just saying that certain Christmas movie only narrows it down to about a half dozen.
No, there's only one.
Die Hard?
Die Hard. That's it. The only Christmas movie out there.
Well, it's a Christmas movie. We're in Die Hard 2. Yeah, The Sign. The Sign that leads to Samuel L. Motherfucker.
Okay.
I found your perfect van. Granted, it has Pikachu on the side, but
Hey, that just makes it better. Pikachu is fucking awesome.
let's see. What are the stats of this car again?
And I will reiterate this, Rodent. Yes, we want to see the terrible joke. Don't hide it.
Okay, so this is a all-wheel drive Ford Transit van, been heavily modified with a heavily boosted Formula One engine in it that produces 1,460 horsepower and weighs just over 1 ton.
Nice.
Is this
Be right
a
back,
van
guys.
that exists in reality?
The original one, yes. The original, yes.
Because obviously the Transit is originally a Ford of Great Britain vehicle.
Well, we have
And
them
my
over here in
fa-
the US too.
I know you have them in the US now as well, but originally in the 60s it was a Ford of Great Britain vehicle. And my father actually worked at Ford Great Britain's research and development facility for a while. And then he went and worked in the warranty department. But I remember reading the Ford GP newspaper in the mid 70s, and reading the story of what the apprentices did when they put together a Mark I transit van with 1,000 horsepower Ford Cosworth DFY Formula One engine in the back.
Yeah, that's what this is based on.
That sounds like fun. But all right, so Rodent posted this. So okay, so I'm gonna see if I can get through this straight face the entire time. Tasty got fired from his porn store job as a sponge mopper for taste testing. How do you think he got his nickname?
It's just so wrong, but so true.
Let's face it, though. After that, he got a new job as quality assurance manager at the same porn store.
Any man that gets drunk enough to knock himself into a wall got fired from a porn store for sure.
It wasn't really just knocking himself into a wall while drunk. It was that he was almost asleep while drunk, and then the klaxon went off. Or was it you, Jay, that played the klaxon?
Yes, it was. Because I told him to.
I had a friend. We'd gone out on the piss, and I poured him into his pit. And somehow, in the middle of the night, he got up, pissed in his locker, and then I don't know how he managed to do it, but between pissing in his locker and getting back into bed, he half ripped his ear from his head.
Oh, that takes
That's
skill.
impressive.
Wakes up about Sunday lunchtime, covered in fucking blood, comes banging on my room door. Oh yeah, on my door. I'm like, for fuck's sake, what did you do? And I take him over. We drag his ass over to the medical centre, and they're like, "Nah, fuck off. He's still pissed. We can't deal with him while you can't bring him in here while he's still pissed." So I have to drive him into the city to the local bloody ER in the big teaching hospital in Norwich, because somebody's got to fucking sew his ear back on, haven't they?
Oh, man.
Do they really though?
Well, I couldn't not get his.
You didn't try
sewed
duct
back
tape?
on.
If you can't duck it, fuck it.
Look, I was just about sober by this time, so the only reason I didn't consider duct tape was I didn't have any.
Staples?
Look, we were in the billet, not at bloody work. We'd have been at work. We'd have been at work when they just fucking, like you say, duct taped it back on. But
Epoxy.
you know,
You pick that up at any hardware store.
Gorilla glue.
look, I wasn't going to spend any more fucking money than necessary on this guy. Was
Just you don't love him that much. Gotcha.
Oh.
you know, it was bad enough. I had to drive in 20 miles into the fucking city.
You should be thankful just for that.
And kick him out. Yeah, and then I kick him out in the hospital, and of course I just fucking left him there. It's not like I waited with him or anything.
But why would you? Oh shit.
It's like there you go. I'll just leave you in the city with no fucking money or anything.
Damn. With friends like you, who needs enemies?
If he managed
Hey.
to make it back, you knew that he actually had the things that he needed to survive.
He didn't lose it. He didn't lose his ear off the side of his head. So that was all cool.
I mean, I got into a fight in Maine, a bar fight in Maine, with another ship that pulled in, and I ran into a tree, knocked myself out.
But
Someone
the stupid
said
thing
cops.
was-
We all ran out. I ran
Yeah.
full speed straight into a tree.
I'm really fucking happy that we have this discussion a fair bit after the whole thing with, intelligence requirement for actually getting into the fucking into the movie.
The stupid thing about this was he ripped his fucking ear off in his sleep. He didn't noticeably wake up. Apparently, he didn't remember waking up or anything in the middle of the night. But he definitely pissed in his own locker, and then managed to half rip his ear off his head, falling back in his pit.
Here's something to think about, though, with that, Leon, is
Tuesday night.
how many stories like this do you think happened during the college years of people who have those advanced degrees? Just because you're smart, doesn't mean you haven't done or witnessed some stupid fucking shit from the people around you, and between the ages of 16 and 30.
Be honest there, though, Jared. It isn't really about being smart. It's about being intelligent. And being intelligent and being smart aren't necessarily the same thing.
True.
What's that famous line from The Phantom Menace? The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
Do we need to get into the whole thing with how Jar Jar is most likely the most powerful Sith Lord, though?
Oh, he's gotta be.
Really intelligent.
I'm just waiting for the origins of Jar Jar Binks to come out. That's what I'm waiting on.
I'm going to say, Jared, 16. Fuck, I wasn't. I was regularly getting served in pubs at the age of 13.
Oh,
That's because you're from Britain. That's how we do it over there.
yeah, but you have to admit, there is a certain... increase. There is a change of the stupidity that we boys get into in the mid-teen years.
Yeah. I mean, yes, because they let us have bigger toys, don't they?
Exactly.
But see, if America was smart, they'd decrease the fucking drinking age to 18 instead of 21.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's smart.
Our drinking age is 18, and like I said, yeah, I've always looked somewhat older than I am, so
I was always told if you can see over the bar, you're good.
Well, there are places in Europe that it is like 13, 14 that you can be served if you're with your parents.
Yeah.
Kyle Rittenhouse was accused, or his parents were accused of serving a minor alcohol because he was at a restaurant after one of his hearings and was given a beer, because in Wisconsin, as long as you're 18 and your parents are with you, you can have beer.
But did he cross the state lines to get there?
Well, it was in Wisconsin. I mean, you know, and I heard he even took a gun with him too. One of those nasty assault rifles.
You okay, Al?
Sorry, that sounded.
Okay,
I think that was a nasty COVID assault cough. That was.
Shall we play a game?
No, because we're going to be calling a night here shortly, because I gotta be at work in about 8.5 hours.
Pussy.
I thought you weren't on call.
No, this is actually a scheduled thing, and I'm doing it because the site is only 15 minutes away from the house, but I'm still getting the full travel time. And it's a system and a drive that I have worked on the past 3 visits. So it's going to be a relatively quick one.
So what you're saying is that your company is 20 miles past where you need to go, and you're getting paid for the mileage from work instead of from your house.
Oh, my travel clock is based on from the office to the customer site.
That's what I thought.
The office is down that way. The customer site's around the corner right over there.
That's the one thing I missed about picking up shifts at other fuel stations for my company, is that if they're far enough away, I got paid mileage. And when I lived literally like less than a quarter mile from my work, I got paid mileage from my store to their store and back. And so it wasn't a bad deal. But when I lived half an hour further north, that sucked, because for half an hour I didn't get paid.
Yeah, that is one thing with the way the pay works for the position I'm in now, is that with it being based out of the office, there are times that I'm on the road for longer than I'm actually on the clock, because I literally have to drive past the office to get to where I'm going. But it does balance out with all the other times that I can go from home straight to the customer site, and I'm closer to the customer site than the office is, so it balances out. Which is actually what Monday and Tuesday are going to be like. But Monday I do have to stop at the office first, because I have to pick up a few parts.
God damn it. Damn you, Scribe.
So if I heard you right, I think we're playing Quiplash?
You guys can play if someone wants to boot it up. It ain't going to be me. I'm clicking buttons in 2 minutes to call it a night and then get my happy ass to bed.
Here you go, Jared. Just something to make you angry. At the stupidity of it.
Gonna have to zoom in.
You get your glasses checked.
Yeah, blame Google.
Yeah, you got to zoom in, because I could barely read that myself.
Hang on. How come he didn't get charged with anything? But I thought he got charged with like 5 or 6 counts of something.
Yeah,
some of which were dismissed, and the rest of which he was found not bloody guilty of.
Yeah.
For fuck's
That's
sake,
the
Americans
point
are
of the
stupid.
that's the point of the scribe light comment.
Sorry, I didn't read the top bit. I just read the bottom bit.
Yeah, he was charged with a number of things.
6 or 7, I believe. Yeah.
He got acquitted on all of them. He was still charged, but he was acquitted.
Quit.
Couple
Because
of them
they're
were thrown out.
bullshit.
I thought they dropped the I thought they dropped the charge for the short barrel weapon.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
after they measured it.
Because it wasn't.
Exactly. They dropped the firearms charge because the weapon was legal.
Yeah. And for fuck's sake, that prosecutor needs some fucking instruction in safe weapon handling, doesn't he?
No,
Yeah, wait.
he already knows.
Hang on. This is a yes and no. Should he have had his finger on the trigger like that in the courtroom based off of what we saw? No. However, in environments where people are handling firearms a lot and verification of not being loaded, no magazine and everything has been done, can you get away with it and not be seen as an ignorant dick?
No.
Keep your finger off the trigger. That's it, bro.
No.
No,
Hang on.
I'm a weapons instructor. For fuck's sake, no. I like being alive.
Let me explain a situation where it is actually part of the training situation. Military and police, armed assailant training. No magazine, no round, weapon is certified as clear by all involved, and you make the training as realistic as possible. That is the one and only situation where the booger scratcher being there is tolerable in a very specific training environment. So to say never, not exactly accurate.
As I understand it, he didn't even do a fucking
Chamber check. But with this, though, we have to remember this guy's job and his mission with all this was to discredit Kyle in any which way he could. If he could do this and try to essentially elicit fear in the jury by trying to make them feel as if he was trying to do something towards them, he can show that, oh yeah, this is how those people felt when Kyle was there.
Well, here's the thing: is it what from the lawyers I was watching that were watching that point, they weren't saying that he was doing it to elicit the fear in the jury. He was trying to get the defense attorneys to object to it based on him provoking that response in the jury, which would then prove his point that Kyle was provoking people. To their credit, they didn't object to it because they knew what he was trying to do.
Yeah, they didn't play into the game that he was trying to pull. So that's where, is it unkosher and 99% of the time you don't fucking do that? I agree. But there is that slim chance where you may not like it, but it can be appropriate. But with...
In this case, it was appropriate to get an acquittal.
From what I understand, this Kyle's the only one that in the right helping other people.
He did have someone with him who, a friend of his that went with him that day of, that was helping respond to fires and everything. Mm-hmm. But what I find hilarious, and this is where I knew that, well, I had the inclination that he was going to be acquitted of the charges, was when the first witness that the prosecution called under cross-examination admitted to lying and admitted to being the aggressor. The prosecution's case was done at that point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And people are still pissed about the whole turnout. I'm like, why? Why are you mad at this?
Because they haven't actually looked at the case.
They don't care to look at the case. They have a narrative that they wanted to push, and they saw this case as an opportunity to do that, and it failed.
Yeah.
It failed fucking big time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and what I find hilarious is the people on the backside of it who were against the case and wanted him charged and done and over with, and not want to go through the trial without saying they didn't want to go through the trial, to then turn the acquittal into the whole, oh, it's because he was white. Meanwhile, down in Florida, a black guy who did the same thing against the cops just got acquitted too. Same day.
Ah. So shame one hadn't heard of it. I suppose he didn't actually kill any cops, did he?
He shot at the cops because they came in on an incorrect SWAT call, and the cops were shooting at... He got in a shootout with the SWAT team because they misidentified the house and went after him and his family. So he defended him and his family against the cops, and he was black, and he got acquitted.
He was lucky not to get dead.
Correct.
I think, wasn't
he?
Because I remember there was another case of where there were, was riots, stroke unrest, etc., where there were cops in unmarked vehicles that were not in uniform, that were driving around shooting at people, and they got very upset when somebody shot back at them.
Yep.
When was this?
Last year sometime. Because the guy, I think the guy's suing for, because they came in on him really rather quickly and give him a right kicking.
Oh.
For the temerity of shooting in their general direction. I think he put rounds under the vehicle because they pulled up, saw these people stood outside their business protecting it, because they were trying to protect it because there were no police, and the police started just randomly shooting at them.
But they were shooting using rubber bullets.
Well,
they were doing that to a lot of different people.
Yeah, but how the fuck is the person that's being shot at supposed to know that they're rubber bullets that are coming in their direction and not actual real live rounds?
Well, they can't know. But that's the thing, that when they actually try to release this, they try to use that as a mitigating circumstance. There wasn't actually live ammo.
Well, from what I understand, the police were quite lucky because he put the rounds under the van so that the ricochets would then just go up into the bottom of it to avoid actually killing anybody.
Yeah, deterrent shot more than anything.
And the police were behaving as if driving around in an unmarked vehicle with not in uniform and randomly shooting out the side door of a van was an okay thing to do.
But again, that's a Tuesday down here.
Yeah, our police generally aren't as well trained as some of.
In many jurisdictions, as well as they should be.
Yeah. They tend to lose their cool very quickly. They tend to.
Yeah.
De-escalation techniques are almost lost in some departments.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is where, when the whole thing about, defund the police came up, I was like, no. Don't defund it. Reallocate the funding to proper training.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are people who try to say, when we said defund the police, we didn't mean take away their funding. Is like, oh no, there were motherfuckers who were saying exactly that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, to be fair, the concept of defund the police was supposed to be reallocating stuff into other areas. But yeah, there are some people that they don't even really think about what they just say the term. They don't really think about what's actually meant by it.
Oh no, there
Many
were
of these
there were
do mean
people.
it.
There were people in the streets when they were asked, "What do you mean? Do you want to take away their money, or do you just want to reallocate it to
And
better
I'm not
training?"
talking about like the average idiot on the street. I'm talking about like where the phrase had originally come from has a different intent than what people use it for. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, you have people muddying a lot of those messages, and that's where instead of saying something that could be construed that easily and misunderstood that easily, say what you actually mean clearly from the start. We want their funding reallocated to appropriate measures. We want to refocus on the training, not the equipment.
Training, shift stuff to like other social programs, especially like psychiatric. Because I mean, there's situations that our cops are acting in where they're not the ones who should have been really involved in the first place, and they're just getting involved because, well, we don't have the other stuff.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we have that problem in the UK, and we've got a National Health Service. Unfortunately, mental health services in the UK are just as badly funded as they are in the US.
Why does that not surprise me?
But I thought nationalized healthcare was the godsend and the fixer of all health issues.
Let's just say I'd much rather have it than not. It's just that it's not a universal panacea for everything.
Nothing's perfect.
Exactly.
It's definitely
Nothing's
better
perfect.
though. But,
Alan,
Yeah.
that video is both in the live chat, it's in the side chat here, and it's in the server.
And here's what... Ooh. Wow, and so... The following content has been identified by the YouTube community as inappropriate or offensive to some audiences. Yeah, people who don't like the truth. Oh, this is the one up in Minneapolis. The one that I was referring to that was acquitted the same day as Rittenhouse was down in Florida.
Yeah, but this is the one that Alan was talking about with the white van people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that shit's pretty fucked up.
No, hang on. Athens, I said I was getting ready to push some buttons a few minutes ago. The conversation went on well enough that I was giving people an opportunity to finish saying their piece. But now that there has been a lull in the conversation, we've gotten to a point, and it is still not 11 o'clock at night on the East Coast. I'm taking this opportunity now to give you motherfuckers one last chance to say something coherent. You have 30 seconds. Go.
I really have been enjoying my bottle of Ardbeg tonight, and if we kept on going for another few more hours, I would probably finish it, which would mean I would get another bottle for the next Christmas that is just coming up.
Well, we are going to be live in a couple weeks. Next weekend, we are taking off due to the holiday, but after that,
it's Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Yep.
I forget. It's not our holiday. In fact, it's so bad that for a Brit, it's the last 2 weeks of November are a really good time financially to visit the US, to visit Florida, to go to the theme parks, because the flights are so damn cheap.
Mm.
And of course, back in '97 when I did this, when the internet wasn't quite as useful as it is now, I didn't think to try and find out that there was actually an American public holiday on the last Thursday of November. But
How
hey,
many-
I'm not complaining because yes, it was a bit busy, but the parks were open till like parks were open till 11 o'clock at night, and it was gone midnight by the time we were getting out. So it did make for a really good time on our holiday.
How many seconds was that?
More than 30. but I expected that. So, all right. Anyone else have some quick parting words? No? All right. That's
Ring
what
my
I thought.
bell to be a special subscriber.
I'll let that one pass.